everyone, this is going to be a little discussion about Alien Covenant.
Alien Covenant, a movie so bad that I have moved it to below AVP territory.
It was really bad.
It was horrible.
We saw it when? 2 weeks ago? Last week?
Last week? I think it came out Yeah, we saw it last Sunday.
Okay, so we saw it last week. We did a Patreon podcast about it that wasn't really too in-depth. It was just a first...
A first
sort
pass.
of like, right, first impression of the film.
Yeah.
But as the week went on and it sunk in more, we just realized it was such a bad movie.
It was horrible.
So this is going to be a discussion that is going to have spoilers in it. If it's going to have spoilers about all the movies.
Uh-huh.
The originals, Prometheus, and then Covenant. So if you still need to see it and you are worried about spoilers, you're not going to want to watch this. Otherwise, let's jump right into it.
Sure thing.
So I think you and I are one of the few very, very rare people that actually liked Prometheus.
Loved Prometheus.
And thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
No one has ever given me a good reason as to why they didn't dislike Prometheus. They'll just say something, Prometheus was so bad.
Oh, the scientists are stupid.
But they don't give a good reason. It's so, like, unfounded. And it wasn't a bad movie.
It really wasn't.
My favorite thing about Prometheus was the engineers. I thought that was super cool.
It was a really cool take on, like, why is the space jockey, like, who is he? Where did he come from? What is his purpose? And it's also neat because it's, like, a different take on the whole, like, creation myth. And it's like, you know, oh, these extraterrestrial species created this black goo that can basically form life. And they dropped it in our water, and that's how humans happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, that same goo that created humans is also what created these horrible, weaponized aliens. So, like,
yes.
It's got this really cool mythology to it. It really expands the alien universe, I think. And it just shows you there's more to this universe than horrible, you know, H.R. Giger xenomorphs, which are, like, my favorite design monster of all time. But there's more to it than that. Like,
yes, because the first movie with Sigourney Weaver, who... When did that come out? Alien was, like,
I think that was, like,
1979?
79, yeah. It's one of my favorite movies ever made.
And one of the reasons that's such a good movie is because the xenomorph has no explanation, so it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is really... And imagine in 1979, that's really frightening.
I know, and the cool thing about it is that movie shows you its entire biology.
Yeah.
Like, start to finish. Like, this is how this creature works.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is very, very good.
And you know what's crazy is even though that movie came out in 79 and it featured a dude in a suit, there was more Alien in that movie than there was in Alien Covenant.
Yes, so there was actually more of the xenomorph in that movie. And for Covenant, when we saw the teasers and the promos for it, in the prologues, we sort of had our expectations raised because you see David and Elizabeth going to basically the home planet of the engineers,
the Prometheus homeworld.
Yeah, and then you find out in a flashback, like a 10-second flashback.
A second after that prologue ends, they kill everybody.
Right. So David basically unleashes their own
weapon on them,
and it just kills them.
And I've heard people say that Alien Covenant is a mad scientist movie.
No,
that's horrible.
That is awful.
Frankenstein is a mad scientist movie.
Yeah.
This is just like a stupid movie.
It was so dumb.
It retcons all the good things that, like, could have happened out of them going there. Like, instead of having a movie that focused on the alien, we could have had a movie that focused on the greater universe and, like, understand the engineer. Why did they create humans? Why did they make this alien, you know, weapon? No, instead David kills them all.
And for what reason? He doesn't even really explain why. So
it's very out of character for him too, because I was thinking about this. Like, he did have a really good relationship with Elizabeth Shaw and Prometheus, and even though he was Peter Weyland's puppet, like, he wanted to understand the greater universe more.
Yes, he was more he was, like, learning like a child.
He's inquisitive.
So in this movie, Michael Fassbender actually plays two parts. So he plays David, and then he plays Walter. And oh my gosh, I just feel like David was such a throwaway character because, for one, he's been on this planet for the past 10 years using Elizabeth as basically a surrogate mother.
Yeah, a breeding chamber.
Right, to try and test out all these different aliens. And his whole idea is he wants to create the perfect specimen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was so dumb the way it happened. The way he infected the preacher, and then the chest burster comes out, and the xenomorph like raises his arms.
That
and David
chest
raises his
burster
arm.
was the dumbest part of the entire movie.
That was really dumb.
That was horrible because in Alien, the chest burster is a form of the alien. Hence why they call it the chest burster. It's got a fatter head, it's got a more worm-like body, and its entire purpose is to burst through your chest. If it bursts out as a xenomorph, that makes no sense. Yeah. That's not what it's designed for.
It came out as like a full xenomorph. It was just like a scaled down model of it.
Ridley Scott forgot his own movie, like how it worked. It felt like he had forgotten his own movie and the sequels that came out thereafter that further explained the mythos of this alien.
Yeah, because this is supposed to be a prologue to both of those movies. And for one, and this really, really ticks me off, and I know you said that Ridley Scott has explained this, the technology that shows up in Prometheus and Covenant is way more advanced than it was in the first movie.
Right.
And you said that was because
Ridley
the first
Scott
movie...
says because the Covenant and Prometheus were both funded by Weyland-Yutani, whereas the Nostromo is just a mining ship. Yes. So they have outdated, antiquated technology.
But here's the thing. That movie, the original movie, is not going to age because the technology is so... It's sort of like...
It's out of time.
It's like Star Wars, right? So it's out of time. It sort of like exists in its own sort of universe. In this one, there's a part where the female, I don't remember what her name is. I seriously can't remember the character's name.
I don't remember any of the characters' names.
But so after James Franco dies, she picks up an iPad.
Yeah.
And the iPad is already on... Which I thought it was just little things like that. Like, it wasn't even in sleep mode.
It takes you out of the movie.
It really does. And then she just presses play, and I'm like, really? Would they just have an iPad that was on?
They also shouldn't have cast James Franco as that character.
I heard that was because he wanted a cameo appearance, but he didn't actually want to be in the movie.
That's stupid. No. Don't cast, like, a big-name actor like that for them to die 5 seconds in, and then you're like, why would they do that? That totally, it takes me out of the movie. Because the rest of the characters outside of Billy Crudup and Danny McBride are unknowns. So, like, I accept them as just the scientists and engineers and biologists of the Covenant. And then Captain James Franco, you know, like, this makes no sense. Let's put him on here.
It was so bad.
It was horrible.
It was so bad. Just like
the scene where they touch down on the engineer homeworld. And Walter just opens the door.
Yeah.
No one has masks on. It's like, it doesn't matter if there's air on the planet. You don't know what kind of weird bacteria are on there.
Yeah.
On Prometheus, when they got off the ship, they still had helmets on.
I mean, even on planet Earth, people use hazmat suits.
Yes.
And you can't even go to a planet and use a suit? Are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous.
If all of those guys had been wearing helmets, the initial infections would have been completely avoided.
Yep.
They wouldn't have gotten infected with the spores and stuff like that.
It doesn't even make sense because in Alien Isolation, Weyland-Yutani sends out another ship to go look at what happened to the Sevastopol and get the Nostromo black box, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they do that for Prometheus?
I know. Because how many years has it been?
10. It's been 10 years and they're like, oh, we lost Prometheus. Whatever. We lost it. But they care more about the Nostromo, a mining ship, than they care about Prometheus, which found our creator.
And clearly Weyland is still incredibly active. If they made like a David 2.0, so when they made Walter...
We removed his emotions.
Yeah, they were... whatever. Oh my gosh. And another thing as well is this movie, to me, I do not understand for the life of me how people were saying it was better than Prometheus.
That blows my mind.
It was the same exact thing.
It was the same exact thing, but worse. It was literally scenes copied from Alien and Prometheus, put together in a haphazard order, and it made less sense.
They land on a planet. They go in the derelict ship. They get infected. Like, all in the same sort of order and way. I am so sick of seeing the getting infected, like, plot line, you know, for a character. You get the spore, and then you have to wait 12 minutes later for them to get sick. You've already seen that.
I know.
This was such a rehash.
You know what I was thinking about? Like, so in Alien, the original, and to some extent Aliens, and Alien 3, actually. So in the 3 main Alien movies, there's a lot of really creative alien kills. Like, when the engineer, I don't remember his name, an alien, is walking through the ship, and then he walks into the cargo bay and the chains are dangling.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, that's very ominous. And then the alien comes down, grabs him, and like rips him away. That's really creative because it's blending in with its scenery, right? In this movie, there's a guy and a girl making out in a shower, and you see the alien tail come under. And I'm like, is this Friday the 13th? Because this is a Friday the 13th kill.
Yeah.
Like, we've gone away from creative and just gone into like 1980s slasher. And the alien in this movie, so there's two of them. It's so weird. There's two. Well, I guess there's two xenomorphs and there's two white xenomorphs, for lack of a better word.
The xenomorphs that came out from the little spores, basically.
One literally is stupid enough to get caught in a machine claw.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
They're smart. Like, the first time you killed one, you had to, like, lure it into a cargo bay and then blast it out the airlock. Like, that was how they, remove it the first time.
Right.
The second time, they went, like, full-blown pulse rifle flamethrower, and they're just like, they go military on it. This time, I'm gonna lure it into a claw machine, and I'm gonna crush it. And for the second one, I'm gonna do the same thing I did in the first movie and lure it out the airlock again. You know what I want to know? How did David make eggs without a queen? Okay,
that was another thing as well. When David regurgitates the little, face huggers in those little,
They totally ruined the biology of this thing.
I know.
Because, like, Prometheus at least did it right. When Elizabeth Shaw had the starfish in her, and she ripped it out through the medical bay, right? The starfish then latched onto an engineer, and it put the proto-alien in him.
Yeah.
So, like, there was some sort of, like, sensical biology for that, for the alien mythology.
Yes, things that shouldn't have happened, and it got,
Somehow they got alien eggs, which we saw in Aliens. The only way you can get an alien egg is via a queen.
Yeah,
so how did he get, like, 8 eggs in...
Seriously.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Who is laying
Ridley
the eggs?
Scott probably needs to stop making movies now. After the Noah movie, or the Moses movie, and this, I'm convinced it is a blessing he's not doing the Blade Runner sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Thank goodness Denis Villeneuve is doing Blade Runner 2, because Ridley Scott would probably be like, Harrison Ford is actually a Terminator who came from the RoboCop universe.
There'd be some weird explanation.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
This one, I feel like, should have been about the engineers. I feel like Covenant should have been about the engineers.
The entire premise of the movie is 2,000 people are going to find a new homeworld. They could have been like, hey, we want to come live here with you, engineers. And the engineers are like, no, we don't want to live with our lesser creation.
Yeah.
But instead, no, it's about David becoming God and mad scientist.
And I loved Michael Fassbender.
He's a great actor.
He was great.
He's great in this movie, too.
But unfortunately, just his character was so...
stupid.
So unrealistic and stupid.
Yeah.
And another thing as well, and this is something, so when David lands on the planet, and he unleashes the biological weapon or chemical warfare, whatever, are you telling me that was the only city on this entire planet?
No, that was it. There's just one city.
Where are the other cities?
It's an acropolis.
This is a highly advanced race that made humans, and you're telling me there's only one city.
That's why, like, I hope that this actually wasn't their home world. This was just a world, and they're all over the place. Maybe an alien...
That's true. Maybe
what would be the next one? An alien commandment. The commandment ship will go to another world, and the engineers will be like, yo, why'd you kill all our people? And then they kill all the humans.
But obviously not, because Alien takes place how many years after this?
Alien takes place, like, very shortly after Covenant. Because the implication from Covenant is David made the xenomorph, and somehow he sends a ship full of eggs, a derelict ship full of eggs to LV-426.
So that's where this is supposed to have led to.
That's kind of the idea, is that David sends a ship full of eggs to LV-426.
That was the whole idea of this.
Yeah. I'm assuming David makes a queen somewhere along the way and sends that to the other one from Aliens as well.
I guess so. They didn't need to explain the xenomorph,
They ruined everything.
And the whole purpose of the movie is David trying to create the perfect species.
Like, after we're done making this, I'm going to do my best to forget that movie exists.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be Alien 1 through 4.
That's just it.
And Prometheus. And Alien vs. Predator and Predator.
But just not this.
No.
Like, Prometheus was fine the way it ended. It was sort of, like, open-ended, but not everything has to be explained.
What's ridiculous is the AVP movies, Alien vs. Predator, were horrible movies. Like, they're just crap. They're bad writing, bad story. but they were more entertaining and fun to watch than Covenant was. Like, I will take an alien fighting a predator over watching Covenant again. That's how bad that movie was.
And I'm so tired. I'm so sick and tired of stupid characters making dumb... Like, Danny McBride's character drove me insane.
Him and his wife were stupid.
Oh my gosh. His wife, I was like, why are you a nervous wreck? How did you even get this position? Like, you have to go back to the ship now. Weren't these people, like, trained to do any sort of, like, medical procedure?
Why did they only have one lander if they're a freaking colonization ship with 2,000 people?
I know, exactly. Where are they going to put the people?
How are they going to get 2,000 people on the planet?
Seriously.
Oh my gosh, that movie, so retarded.
It was really bad. It should have just been, seriously, if they wanted to do it, scratch this movie, throw away the script. It should have been Elizabeth and David if you wanted to do something.
That should have been the sequel that we got with Elizabeth and David. Right. And maybe they go and they're like, don't send people here. You know, it's going to end badly.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah,
hiding
and then
from the
people
engineers
show up
and
anyway.
stuff like that. Or even finding humans on the engineer planet. I mean, who knows?
Right.
You know, humans that they would have created and kept there. They could have done so much more interesting stuff.
So they could have sent Weyland-Yutani troops, like Aliens style, to go take out the engineers, but the engineers send out their alien, the xenomorph,
that would have been cool.
army. And
that would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome. I'll tell you, this movie was so misleading because the prologues make you think it's going to be one thing. The poster outside the movie shows you a pile of bodies.
I know.
Of engineers and xenomorphs. There's more engineers and xenomorphs in the poster for the movie than there is in the actual movie. This movie's a lie.
It is a
lie. It's a giant lie. And I am so mad that Ridley Scott thought that he could just pull one over on us with this thing.
It's unfortunate. So that was kind of our little rant about it. Why I do not understand why people say it's better than Prometheus. And I guess that's it. No more alien movies, please. Just stop. Just stop.
Neil Blomkamp should have got to make his District 9 guy.
Oh yeah,
they canceled it.
That's sad.
The rumor is Fox got him on board to convince Ridley Scott to do another alien movie.
Wow.
So they fired him after.
Okay, but didn't he also do Chappie?
Yeah, he also did Chappie.
Okay, Chappie was a mistake.
Everyone's allowed to make a mistake, except for Denis Villeneuve. He can only make good movies. But District 9 and Elysium wasn't as good. But District 9 was so good.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. I'd love to see more movies like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
just thinking about
his idea for his Alien movie was like, it was very District 9-esque. There's concept art with Sigourney Weaver wearing like a VR helmet, and she's controlling aliens on like a planet. It would have been weird and wacky, probably like Alien Resurrection, but I'd take that over Covenant any day of the week.
Likewise.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. So thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on the next movie rant by Angry Video Movie Man. All right, guys. Bye.
See ya.